I'm actually so excited. Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Loa Baby. Without talking too much, because I know y'all have been waiting for this tutorial for a minute. I'm sorry. Life has been lifing. The reason this tutorial took so long is because I have been dropping bucket hats, my new favorite thing. I'll make a Shelly hat every now and then, but right now I am making bucket hats and they're so cute. If you haven't already watched the video of me making my first dress, well, my second dress, make sure to check that out because that is the video that sparked all of this. I've made this dress 3 times and it has never come out the same. Like, it's always different. Sometimes, like this time, a little more drastically different than the first one. You gotta elevate, you gotta evolve. You can't always just continue, well, at least me, I don't want to keep making the same thing over and over, so I spiced it up a little, but it's still pretty much the same dress. It is the same dress. And if you want the dress to be like exactly like the second one I made, the pattern that I have on my website is pretty much that to a T. But either way, you get the basics of it, you get the gist of it. I hope you enjoy this dress tutorial, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll clarify anything that you need.
All right, let's get into this tutorial. So I start this tutorial using this blue teal color yarn, but I would normally start using this same type of yarn but in the oatmeal shade. I just didn't like how I recorded the first half of it, so I redid it just using this yarn. So the main part of this tutorial is going to be creating the mesh. Creating the mesh is the most time-consuming part of this tutorial because it's just a lot of repetition. But once you have the basics of creating the mesh, it's going to be very easy for you to incorporate it. Because the mesh work is so intricate and you can easily spot a mistake, you want to take your time with it. Otherwise, you'll be forced to restart or unravel your work, and that can be very annoying. Come back to it as many times as you want, but don't feel the need to complete it within a short amount of time. This is about hours of work. So this piece starts to expand because of what I call the mesh effect, meaning it's just going to feel a lot wider the more you go up. So in order to make the dress more fitted around the hips, I start to do what is called a decrease. So in this tutorial, I decrease more drastically just to simplify it for the tutorial's sake, but my pattern describes a more gradual but longer and more time-consuming decrease. The first type of dress I made like this was completely mesh and didn't have these blocked out areas, triple crochets. Second dress, I decided to make it super detailed, so it actually has a lot more coverage than the first dress and this dress. So this lower body half of this tutorial dress looks a lot different than the second dress I made because it's just a lot less detailed. Another difference is that this dress, I'm choosing to make it completely backless, unlike the second dress I made, which had a fur-lined open back. For an open back look, I would have continued to crochet up to about 3/4 around the dress and leave only about 1/4 of the stitches open in the back, but instead I had decided to continue the mesh only about halfway around my dress. Because I decided to make the front part of my dress a little small sliver. The piece is no longer wide enough to cover my entire chest, so I'm adding extra chains on both sides of this piece to make it longer. I also like to try on the dress very often just to see how it's going and just make sure that it's the right size fit. This would also be a good time for you to take a break. We're about halfway through completing the dress now. Make sure that you're taking time to hydrate in between your crochet sessions. So to create my neckline, I changed the exact number of stitches as I had in the last row in the front, which I can't remember the exact number, but it looks like it's about 48 stitches. The main thing to remember when working with mesh and numbers is, in order for this mesh effect to be created, the criteria for the number of stitches that you should generally have when starting this project is that they have to be a multiple of 3 and 4. That's pretty much it. Sometimes your numbers might be a little off and you might get like an extra stitch at the end, but for the most part, it's fine as long as it looks even. This tutorial doesn't really have any exact measurements because I like to measure as I go and I don't always keep track of the numbers. I go by how it fits and how it looks, and that usually works for me. So for the arms, I believe I single crocheted about 24 stitches. So I'm going to make sure when I'm making the stitches on the other side of the arm, I'm also doing 24 stitches. So now this is where the importance of using the back loop only while triple crocheting comes into play. So this ribbing effect is caused by using the back loop only when you are triple crocheting this chest area. This is where you want to insert your slip knots across the piece to create the detailing effect on the front. So now this part is optional, but it's if you want a tighter fit on your dress, you can just single crochet an elastic into the back part of the dress. If you want to take it even further, you could also work that elastic up around the back opening to get like a really tight fit around the back part. But I didn't do that because the elastic would show in the front half of my dress. Alright, so now we are in the home stretch. We're about 80% of the way done with our dress. Now we're going to be working on the overlay. This is the part where I would say you most definitely would need a mannequin, or it would be best for you to work on this piece while it's on you, just so you can see exactly how the overlay is going to sit on top of the piece. So the last part of the overlay is just using slip knots to connect the overlay to the actual body of the piece. This, you can decide how you want your overlay to fall based on where you are attaching it to the piece. I chose to do like the sides, one closer towards the front and one closer towards the back, so I could also get a little drape effect around the back. At this point, it's up to you how you want to stylize your dress. It's just always important to put your own flair and your own twist to things to really make it custom and a one of one. And then obviously, because I'm extra, I decided to just add some gold sequin yarn to the back of my dress, which took quite some time actually because the yarn is so thin and I had to use such a small hook to like work it into the ribbing. But anyways, this is the final product. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope this tutorial was helpful. If you do happen to recreate my dress, I would love it if you tag me on social media. My @name is It's Loa Baby. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe so you can see some more of my content.